got one toe like a zebra does, whereas an elephant has got a few more. So their feet are much more different. They don't have that hard like hoof structure. I think their foot is slightly softer. They've got toe nails, and then of course the skin around the feet. We're being surrounded by these elephants now, but they seem fairly relaxed with us. I promise you though, my heart sank to the floor because I thought, oh my goodness, we're going to get charged. Look here, Craig, look at this little one. Hello. Yes, little elephant. Two little elephants. You're standing with big brother or big sister. Who are you? Big sister, I think it is. Look at those terrible two there, little naughty ones. Hello. Yeah, I know you're bigger and stronger than your friends. It's okay, I won't hurt them, girl. And we're just watching. So yeah, she just sort of sent them on their way. It's okay. That is honestly one of the most amazing things I have ever seen, and there's just an opportunity just to show you how I completely misread their behavior in the beginning because I couldn't hear them. I couldn't understand what they were doing. All I knew was a little elephant trumpeted because it was getting excited with a car, and the next minute the rest of these ellies came charging in. But it wasn't that ellie that signaled them. I think the other cow must have said, hey guys, I found a gold mine of fruit here. There's not much fruit around in the bush at the moment, and they all came running in. Really, I was ready to start the car and drive away, and then I went, wait, let's just see how this plays out very quickly, because they're not showing any aggressive signs. They're just running full speed towards us, and there they all are. Look at them. Look at the cows. A big girl over here, she's searching. I don't know if she got any, but the others most certainly did. I watched one of the little ones pick the fruit up, and she came over and she put her head up against the tree and she shook it to try and see if there were any more that were going to come off. But unfortunately the Balanites tree is quite a strong tree, not quite like the marula, which when they put their heads against it and they push it, it normally shakes the fruit loose. That tree didn't even budge. That was really amazing. Hey guys, can you find some more? You're going to come over here. Hello. Still desperately searching under that long grass. So beautiful. Now, natural, a very interesting question. One that I think I'm going to struggle to answer. Well, I think anybody will struggle to answer. And that is, can the elephants hear the trees talk? Can they hear them communicating? I'm not sure. I don't know. You never know. I think nature is connected in so many different ways that we possibly don't even understand. But it would be amazing. Maybe it was the tree that told the other elephants, but I don't think so. I think that it was the one cow that made her way through here first and was picking up all the fruits and then decided to say, hey, come and have a look what I've got. I've got something delicious for all of you to eat. Like searching, like this youngster here. See that? Just moving its trunk through under the grass, under the bush willow, but having no luck, unfortunately, with finding the tasty fruit from the Balanites tree or the torchwood tree. We're going to see if we can keep up with these ellies. They are going down into a drainage, so this might be our last view. I'm going to send you across now to Ali, who has found herself a herd of kudu.
Well, the wind was picking up on the road that we were in, and it didn't seem to be thick enough, so we decided to take one out of the animals book and do exactly what they do and go find an area that was a bit thicker. And indeed, just as we decided to do so, here are the kudu. The wind is definitely not as bad as it was in here, and we're actually feeling a bit warmer, and I think these guys, well, these girls out in the sun are actually enjoying it. Very fluffy youngster. I think it might still be a little bit cold because its coat is all fluffed up. Look at that pretty tail. So we can see now why, or that the tail for a kudu is very similar to the one of the nyala. It's also got that fox-like appearance. Very big, very fluffy. Are you guys enjoying breakfast this morning? So we've got 2 females and 2 youngsters, and sometimes I think the females are actually just forced to stay together because the youngsters bond with each other, and well, clearly they want some company and a playmate, and sometimes the mothers are not the greatest playmates that they are. So it's almost easier for them to be like, oh, fine, stay together. And they're playing now behind the mother. We've got one that's being a bit shyer. Hello. And you can see they've been all around very thick vegetation. I think this one that we're looking at has got even some leaves that are still being carried around on its coat. And Mom, on the other hand, she's still eating. She is eating one of the yummiest plants around here. It seems to be a buffalo thorn. So she's got to maneuver her way around a lot of very spiky thorns that face both front and back. So you see she's she's doing it a bit carefully. It's not easy. Julia, you're wondering what the difference between gazelle, impala and kudu are. Well, they're all different types of animals. The kudu is probably the biggest one of them all, and it's this one that we're looking at. Beautiful gray big animal, very big gray ears, and we normally find it in the thicker vegetation. Whereas impala also occurs in this area, but is probably about half the size of the kudu, if not even maybe a little bit less. And they can be found in areas that are thick as this one, but they also seem to prefer open areas. Whereas the gazelles, you'll be able to see them, I'm sure, with Brent all the way in the Mara and not down here, and also somewhat similar to impala, probably about the same size or not too far off, and they also seem to prefer areas that are a bit more open. So I would say the main difference between all of them is probably where they live or what type of area they prefer, and then also of course size. I don't think I've got my mammal book here to be able to show you the difference between the three, but kudu, definitely the biggest one of them all. And although we get impala here as well, we do not get gazelles around here. Although some people might argue perhaps that an impala is not too distantly related from a gazelle. So I think she's having a bit of trouble maneuvering, but look at her very full cheeks. I'm sure she's managed to get quite a few tasty leaves. Off we go. Alma, you're wondering why it looks like the kudu are walking on their toes. Well, it's almost like they are. So they've got two hooves like this, and then when they walk, well, they don't walk like this. When they walk, you'll see that the two hooves, the two toes, move around that area. So also, when they start walking, you'll see that they'll put their back foot where the front one was, and this is called registering their tracks, and they do it to walk a lot more silently, to be a bit more quiet when they walk in the bush, because like I say, they live in thick vegetation, so they want to try and be as quiet as possible, not to give their position away. I'm going to drive forward. Let's see if perhaps in a very optimistic fashion we manage to have a look at their feet. But if you've ever seen a goat's feet, pretty much very similar to what the kudu's feet look like. I think all their feet are going to be covered now by the grass. Maybe here? I don't think we'll be able to have a look at their feet though, which is a bit unfortunate. But we're able to see her pretty face. So you'll see they won't feed on the one tree for too long. They can only feed on a certain or on the same tree for a little while before the tree starts defending itself. And the way they do it is by putting out or concentrating on the leaves more of a substance called tannin that makes the leaves taste a bit more bitter, not as tasty. So it's a way of deterring the animal moving away and then just start feeding on another tree. So that's why you'll see that they won't finish off a tree in just one go, as perhaps some of the other creatures would do with other types of food. And by that I mean, for example, if you look at a lion or a leopard eating a carcass, they will finish it off before moving off to something else. Whereas all of the herbivores, actually all of the browsers, they'll only feed on a certain tree for a short space of time before leaving that tree and moving on to the next one. always those big ears around there. Those satellite dishes that allow them to hear everything that's around them and just keep them alert. So you see her ears are constantly turning, not only because of the little stick that's there that might be getting in her way, but also just a way of, if there's something that she doesn't like, then she'll be able to pick it up quite quickly. Very beautiful big ears, aren't they? And then of course a little bit of hair in there at the entrance or the opening of the ear, just to make sure that they protect the sensitive part of their ear from dust, any branches or anything else that might potentially want to try and get into the ear canal. Also, if you see the red in the ears, they've got a lot of little veins and capillaries that flow through the ears. So just like an elephant, they also use their ears to try and cool down. So you see, once the blood goes through the ears, it'll start cooling down, the temperature will go down, and it'll carry on moving through the rest of the body, and that will eventually cool the animal down. Leo, you say the ears look like butterflies. almost like butterfly wings. Yes, I suppose if we were to put them both together, we would have probably the biggest butterfly in the world. But I suppose we could call it a kudu fly. Maybe that actually sounds like a fly and not like a butterfly. Beautiful. Are you done with that tree as well? Let's leave these girls to their breakfast. I think they are retreating back into the bush because the wind is picking up again. And let's go over to Brent in the Mara that's got a crocodile.
Mara, and we're on the Mara River at the moment with one of the murderous Mara crocodiles, and this is the big male crocodile that dominates the main crossing, and he is absolutely massive. He probably weighs about 1,000 to 1,300 kilograms, and the water is actually quite high compared to what it was yesterday. The river's come up, and I don't think we had enough local rain to warrant this rise in the water. It's from the Mao Highlands where the Mara River sources, and it takes about 7 or 8 hours for the rain to get down here, and normally at this time of the year the water's a lot higher. But there we go, look at that thing, it is a beast. These crocodiles absolutely glut themselves during the migration and then barely feed for the rest of the year. At the moment he's getting a bit of warmth on his body. Now crocodiles are quite interesting because they're one of the only reptiles that which is able to control their body temperature. Most reptiles are completely reliant on sun to get going in the morning, or to really sort of get going, or to maintain that high body temperature they need to move. Now crocodiles are quite interesting because they're able to a degree, they still need to bask in the sun, but they are able to generate heat and control their own body temperature to a very small degree, which makes them quite different from other reptiles. And one must remember that, well, now crocodiles have been in the current form for about 8 million years. There's quite a big misconception that crocodiles have been the same for about 150 to 200 million years, which is not true at all. There have been crocodilians for that long and much longer, but now crocodiles in current form have only been 8 to 10 million years, which of course makes us look like mere babes in the wood in comparison. And that actually reminds me, talking about that, that there was that really interesting discovery on human bones that were discovered in the 60s that were then thought to be about 40,000 years old, that have now turned out to be over 300,000 years old, making it the oldest Homo sapien bone discovery ever. And it's led to some quite big debates in the paleoanthropology world. but we'll discuss that a little bit later. Let's just look at that gnarly, gnarled face of that big croc. That is not something that you want to end up in its mouth. Massive. And we can't even see its full body. Naira's wondering what length I would guesstimate this croc to be at. Well, I would say from the tip of his nose to the base of his tail, I would say is probably longer than me. So I would say 2.5 to 3 meters there. I'd say probably another good 2 meters on the tail. So he's probably between 4 and 5 meters long. Forgive me, my maths is horrible. I think that's about 17 feet. I think. Well, if I'm wrong, correct me, please. Hashtag Safari Live. But the largest Nile crocodile ever recorded, there's 2 that have been actually recorded over 6 meters. One from the Congo River and one from the Zambezi. The one thing I've noticed about the crocodiles here in the Mara River is they're sometimes not as long as some of the Zambezi crocs that I've seen, but their weight, their girth is incredible. They're much wider animals. So I'd say that guy is well over 1,000 kilograms. Now the males get quite a lot bigger than the females, and quite interestingly, crocodiles can be very territorial, but it seems in the Mara they're even more territorial, because of course the main crossing points is the spot to be. That's where you're going to get the most food and only have to feed once a year. Fizzrock was wondering that, and I said yes, you can tell male and female crocodiles apart, but only when the males get quite big. And once they get sort of over a certain size, you know it's a male. Females will very seldom go beyond 3.5 meters, but the males, as I say, 4, 5, and in some record cases over 6 meters. The largest living croc thought to be around actually also only lives about 70 or 80 kilometers from us in Lake Victoria. What was his name again? Do you remember, Jean-Andre? Gustav is his name, and he lives on the top side of Lake Victoria and goes up into, I can't remember the river's name at the moment, but as I said, the 2 biggest crocodiles that have ever been recorded have actually been shot. One was in Point Noir in the Congo, where the Congo River goes out to sea, and they estimate that it had eaten about 25 people, and they called in the military, and they put, I think it was 170 AK-47 rounds into the crocodile before it expired, and that weighed just under 2,000 kilograms and was 6.4 meters, making it the largest ever recorded Nile crocodile in the world. Now, the second is 6.01 meters and was shot on the Zambezi around the village of Deka, on the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. And again, it was eating a lot of people, and both those crocs had lost most of their teeth and were estimated to be over 100 years old, so they might have turned to eating people because they didn't have all their teeth. Hello, rattling testiculars. Yes, I hear you. You're very noisy. Now, we, of course, rattling testicular is the most common testicular we get at Djuma. Here we've got rattling, pectoral patch, stout, lazy, zitting. So there's quite a few testiculars, and we obviously will try a show. Oh, I'm going to move for Jean-Andre to catch the yellow-manted widow bird because it's so pretty. Okay, bye. I'm going down the torrent. So I'm going to try and get Jean-Andre on the right side of the light. It's quite difficult for him. Oh no, you... Beep beep bird, it flew away. Well, we have a triple skirchie in front of us at least. I'm just going to still see, can you see that bird, John? Is he behind us? It flew off. Okay, well, we've got some giraffe, but I'm going to just move a little bit further down this road. I want to show you, we will show you the giraffe, but I want to show you a Rupel's starling, which is the East African equivalent of the Birchill starling. Don't tell the Birchill starlings at Djuma, but I think the Rupel's is better looking. Now, it's the pale eye they have. You've got them there, Jandre. There we go. There's a pair, so they're very similar sized to the starlings. Now, you can see on the back one how pale that eye is, and it's, oh, there we go. Thank you, Jandre. Look how gorgeous they are. Jandre, do you think if I get a bit further forward, I might get better light for you?
No, forward will be worse.
Forward will be worse. Oh, fish eagle coming in, Jandre. There we go, African fish eagle. Oh, wonderful camera work. Wow, awesome, Jandre. Oh, and I've lost cell phone connection with final control. Hopefully they'll phone back shortly. Oh, there we go. The Rupels, there we go, they're phoning back, have put themselves in a better spot. Oh, sorry, final control. It's in my pocket. I'm getting it. I'm not ignoring you. Hi, welcome back to the Mara. There we go, there's the Rupel starling. So they fall the same sort of niche as the Birchill starlings in South Africa, but I just think the pale eye makes them so much prettier. They also do have a slightly nicer colour sheen to them, or maybe I'm just biased. And of course we have the tipple skirchies off to the left. There we go. Named after Count von Tippelskirch. And that's about all the information I've found. Now, oh, look at that. So that's a big male. I've actually sort of almost nicknamed them Triceratops giraffe. Now, he's that sort of build-up of scar tissue on the front of their head they get from fighting in the Maasai giraffe, for me, is far more pronounced. And I saw one who literally had that build-up that was exactly half the size of his horns. So he lives near Djuma, and I mean not Djuma. He lives near Angama. Sorry about that. I mean, so you know, when you jump around countries, you get confused from time to time. And I think I actually almost nicknamed him. What did I call him? Triceratops Rex. And he's so tall like a Tyrannosaurus, and he had the third horn. Now, it obviously that develops in fighting, and what we notice with a lot of the animals here, the impala, the ostrich, that are constantly sort of in flux with breeding, they're constantly fighting for females, and I think because of the high nutrients and food in these areas, that there's a lot more competition for mating, and that has caused the Triceratops Rex giraffe of the Masai Mara. I'll try post a photo of that guy who's got that really long, almost third horn in his forehead. Their color pattern is just gorgeous, though. Okay, well, we're going to keep moving along the edge of the Mara River, and we're still hoping to find a member of the Paradise Pride, or Scar. Or Scar is definitely first choice. Oh, you see the vultures waking up. There we go, we've got some vultures waking up. As it gets warmer, searching for the thermals so they can cruise the Mara looking for death and decay. Now, the vultures are looking for dead animals, but Ali's looking for live ones back on Djuma.
Well, I am trying to look for some live ones, but I haven't seen them. The wind is hiding them all away. But I have got hope what is this? Oh no, this is a hippo track. That we'll be able to find them. So, saying that the sun is a bit higher up, I was thinking maybe of making our way towards Treehouse Down, Twin Dams area, just to see if perhaps any, you know, the pride of leopards that we've got at the moment, and I only say that jokingly, see if perhaps any of them has decided to come all the way back north from their southern position. Hopefully they will. Maybe there will be one, and we'll be able to find one of the spots. I'll be happy pretty much with any spot, cat or any animal for that matter at the moment. And not too far. Which I was quite surprised to see. Was it yesterday morning, I think, at one point, all gone back into the water, which we haven't seen this morning, so I'm sure someone's just been exploring new areas. And I think now that the dams are starting to shrink, well, they're gonna have to get a bit more creative in terms of where they go and what they do. It will be very awesome to see one of the ones down here come out of the water, but I think maybe they're being a bit shyer. Luckily, the ones in the Mara have been performing and coming out and saying hello to everyone. I think also the lack of a big river around this particular area makes them a bit more wary of everything in general. Got more tracks on the road. Let's see. Yeah, are you running at us, Impala? Did you get confused? Nature Geek, you're wondering how much rain we get at this time of the year, and we've got a pretty roller sitting up in the tree. 0 is the answer. We're not supposed to get any rain at this time of the year. The rainy season is pretty much done. Hello, beautiful. So everything's gonna start looking drier. We normally go through 6 months of a rainy period and then 6 months of dry season, and we are just at the start of the dry season, so we shouldn't get any rain until November. But sometimes, off it went. Sometimes we get this very strange bout of rains in September, and it's been happening the last few years or so, but it'll rain for maybe like once or twice, and nothing massive, just a bit of a drizzle, and then it won't rain again until roughly November, where everything we're looking at that is yellow starts turning of a very bright green. So the animals are just coming out of the rainy season. It wasn't as bad as last year when it was quite dry all throughout and we barely had any rain. I think also this year the water evaporation has been a lot less, which is slightly better for everyone involved. Got a hornbill on the road. It seems like it's catching breakfast or eating breakfast. A yellow-billed hornbill. I think it almost seems like it had something. Running around like a butler. What are you looking for? Just a branch to perch on. Fair enough. We will forgive you for that one. There is a bit of elephant dung on the road, so there is a very good chance that he was actually just looking for undigested seeds to eat. Because the elephant has the best digestive system of them. Pretty much the same. Often you'll picking it open, looking for anything that's still edible for find it.
Hello everybody, sorry about that. Ali had some gremlins, but look what I've found for all of you. Good morning, Wildebeest. It's the big herd too. It's our mini migration. Look at this. Now, we were saying just the other day, and I think it was when we had those leopards, or there were lions that had walked over quarantine, and they'd split the wildebeest herd up significantly. And I was wondering when they were going to make their return again. And we've been seeing lots of wildebeest tracks around, but no wildebeest to go with them. But it seems as though the original family has made their return. How exciting is that? That's really nice. What a great day it has been. We've seen so many different things already. This is really wonderful. Now I want to try and count them and get an idea as to how many there actually are. So I'm going to try and count. Maybe let me go forward, Craig. If I go forward, then we can get these ones that are around the corner, and then you can help me because you can take a screenshot and count like that. I'm going to stop right here, and now we should have a good view. So how's that, Craig? Do we get everybody in? Does everybody fit into the family photo? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. I get 32 wildebeest. Perhaps you can count with me though. Maybe if you have taken a screenshot though. Luckily they're being fairly still at the moment. And if you didn't get that screenshot, you can just share it. #SafariLive so everybody else can see. So it's actually much bigger than I originally thought. I thought there were only around 20 odd here, but I got 32 wildebeest. And that's an exceptional size for a wildebeest herd in this area. We don't normally see large groups of animals. However, in winter, we will see them all grouping together. That's when the big herds of buffalo all start to return. We can see large herds of elephants. Very, very interesting. Obviously not quite 30,000 or 100,000 wildebeest like you might see with... Oh, okay. I'll finish that conversation. Let's go quickly across to Ali, who has a bird.
Sorry guys, we had a bad patch of gremlins fighting us around, so we've decided to stay in this particular spot, not to give them the satisfaction, but we are looking at a beautiful tiny little bee eater, 2 of them. They were, not too long ago, and they were fluttering all around. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 together, and they were trying to warm up, so they were all sitting right next to each other. This is the smallest bee eater that we get around here. Beautiful green color, isn't it? And they're all still very, very cold, trying to warm up in this beautiful morning sun. Let's see. We're going to try and reposition, see if perhaps we can find some of them, because they tend to sit together all next to each other and just keep warm, and see if perhaps we'll get them doing that. Now we've got 2 sitting on a branch. Let's go over to Taylor, who's got some wildebeest that she was busy telling you about, and we'll carry on along with the bee eaters, see if perhaps we get them to stick all together.
We're still with our herd. I didn't want to leave them just yet, but very nice, Ali, that you found yourselves little bee eaters. They are very pretty birds. We had 2 yesterday as well, but they weren't really cooperating. They weren't sitting still. Now, you can see some of the wildebeest are up. Some of them are ruminating. Others are laying down now, getting ready to rest for the day. And I think they found themselves quite a nice spot over here, just because they seem to be out of the wind. The wind has picked up significantly. So I don't think these guys are going to do too much today. It's quite cool. I think they'll just sit in this lovely warm sun. And they're quite sheltered by a couple of the bush willows and the silver cluster leaves. And they'll just rest here for most of the day. They might a little bit later pop past the dam camp, so it's always good just to keep an eye out. They might go down and have a little drink. There we go. It's sort of like a trend. As soon as one starts to sit down, the rest of them do the same thing. Ha! Now, Edward, here's a conversation that I've had many, not fights, but not even arguments. I don't know. I always have a lot of fun with this. So, and the question is wildebeest, no, I say wildebeest, is it pronounced with a V or a W? So, I think it depends what language you speak when you were born in South Africa. So I say wildebeest because I come from a very English family. My parents come from Australia. My whole family lives in Australia. So wildebeest is the Afrikaans word. So when I have guided, and I've guided guests from all over the world, and you say to them, this is a wildebeest, they have no idea what you're talking about and they can't pronounce it. It's very difficult because it's a different way that you have to put your tongue in the mouth, and it's strange. And wildebeest is not spelled with a V, it's spelled with a W. So I say wildebeest, or you can call them a wild beast. But we have this joke around camp, and I do it to everybody. I always say to them, what do you call that animal over there? And then either go wildebeest or they go wildebeest. And then I'll say to somebody, okay, how do you say this name? And it'll be the name William with a W. And I say, well, yes, you say William. You don't say William. Or what else can we do? You don't say what for what. You pronounce that W, but of course that's just my opinion, and people get so angry with me when I do it to them. I think it's quite funny. So you can say it however you want to say it, whatever makes you happy or floats your boat. I say wildebeest, some people say wildebeest. Same but different, I suppose. They're essentially the same animal. Wildebeest. Oh, look at that. Called them and then they pretended like they didn't hear me, as if they were trying to ignore me. That's not what's happened. They've heard something, and let me actually go forward. They look like they're walking closer, so I'm going to go forward a little bit. What have you guys seen that you've all up now and looking around? Because it is windy, they're going to be a little bit more on edge. See if we can spot something over the top of the horizon. I'm going to park right behind them. Sorry guys, don't mind us. We're coming to see what you guys are all looking at. Look at them. So they got up, they're obviously trying to get a better view of something. But now they are moving around quite a bit. Again, it's windy, so they're unsure. So if they hear something, they might stand up, move in the direction that noise is coming from, just to inspect it closer. But I wouldn't worry, because the crowned lapwings that live in this area, and there are a few of them around, haven't started alarming just yet. So these wildebeest have got another security sort of team. But April, thank you so much. You said that you counted 33 wildebeest. We'll take one more number. Let's see if anybody else counted, and to get a sort of average. I counted 32, but of course I could have quite easily missed one if it moved behind its mom. So we'll get one more answer as to how many wildebeest. Now I can't say. Tim, you only counted 28. Oh my goodness, this makes me very nervous now. That is seriously varying in numbers. April and I were quite close, because I said 32, she said 33, and now we've got 28. Can we have another one, please, Chantal? Oh my goodness, Nancy, you say 32 as well. Well, it's obviously a bit of a debate this morning. Should we go and say that there are 32 and a half wildebeest? I think that maybe there's somewhere around there. There's either 32 or there's 33. I don't think there's too many less or too many more than that. But they're quite relaxed. Now look at this wildebeest. She's staring down at a bird at the moment. And Brent was hoping to show you the Rupel starling. We've got the Burchell starling. Hello? Who's coming closer and closer towards the herd, searching for insects that they're going to be kicking up. But there aren't too many of those insects around at the moment. So again, the Burchell starling, not only is it utilizing this herd to try and get access to food a bit easier, but also again, it's an alarm system just as the crowned lapwings are. And I've seen some hornbills, and there's a couple of impala around in the area too. So all these different species of animals are most certainly going to be working together on a day like today, where the herbivores have got the disadvantage because of the wind. And we chat about this often. We know they can't hear very well, and the scents start to swirl, which can panic them slightly, which is also maybe why they've come out into this open spot. Keep warm in the sun, hide behind a shrub, keep out of the wind, but then also be able to hear and see a bit easier. So stick with the lapwings, and hopefully some zebra come through and the impala come closer, and then I'm sure you'll be safe, wildebeest. Now, Safari Glack, you're wondering if wildebeest are as silly as they look. Most certainly. They're normally some of the most comical creatures you can sit and watch. Today they're being very well behaved. They're professional wildebeest. Perhaps they've got a business meeting that they need to attend, so their attitude seems to have changed. But on windy days like this, it's always hilarious watching a herd. And normally they're just running around in circles, chasing one another, kicking up dust, making strange noises. It's always quite lovely. I enjoy sitting watching wildebeest, but today they're behaving. But they do look very silly. They definitely are some of the clowns of the bush. Whether they intend to take that title, I'm not sure, but they've definitely been given it by all the visitors and all the guides that take safaris every single day. But like I said, they're behaving very well. Maybe they're also just tired now. They're, exhausted from keeping their eyes open the entire night, making sure that they don't get eaten by a lion or a leopard or something along those lines, even a hyena. And they now just need to have a little rest. Even the little ones don't have as much energy as what they seem to have. Now, I want to hear it from all of you. I'm proposing a question. Do you remember when we started to see the wildebeest sort of calving towards the end of last year, beginning of 2017? Do you think that this is the same herd of wildebeest that we've been seeing? Or do you think it's perhaps a different herd of wildebeest? So you can hashtag Safari Live and we'll have a little discussion about this. Now, I'm not going to tell you my thinking just yet because I want to hear what everybody else has to say. It's nice to just sort of see where everybody's mind's at, and there's no wrong answer. It's impossible to tell. It's not like any of these wildebeest have got a GPS collar on them or a specific, none of them seem to have any scarrings or anything like that that is noticeable and easy to spot to be able to identify if it is the same herd. But it would be nice just to sort of see what you all think. So Chantal, as soon as anybody says anything, it would be great to, of course, hear from you. But they've settled down now. Whatever caught their attention in the distance in the far east as a surety alarm call, because sometimes I've noticed when animals just panic and start alarming, there might have been a predator in the area who probably goes, not going to go there anymore, they must have seen me, and then carries on with something else. I think I'd just walk around going, hey, I see you, hey, I've seen you, don't come near me, all the time, in hope to try and deter the predators from stalking me. Luckily, I'm not really on the food list of any of the predators out here, except those pesky crocodiles. I'm a bit nervous of them. I don't trust a crocodile, that's for sure. Them and polar bears are two animals that actively see humans as food. So I'm going to keep away from the crocodiles, the flat dogs that lie on the bottom of the muddy water. Oh, we've got some answers coming through about our discussion that we're going to have, whether we think this is the same herd or a different herd. I'm just waiting for them. So, Leo, you've said that it's a different herd. Are there anyone else that said anything? So just Leo. Thank you, Leo, for listening to me today. I think everyone else has put me on mute. So, Leo, you said you think it is a different herd. Now, I'm not too certain. I actually think it's the same herd that keeps coming back, and I have a big photo. Justin, you said that they're a different herd. You said that they look larger. I don't think it's one herd. I think that it's two family groups that keep meeting up every now and then. So the wildebeest bulls mark and defend territories, as we know. But of course, those territories can be taken over at any point. And there's one beautiful big wildebeest bull, but it's so difficult because none of them have got scarring on. But their behavior around us is so relaxed all the time. So I don't know how often the wildebeest in the Sabi Sands are encountering people on foot, but definitely the herds that come to the plains of quarantine are fairly relaxed. Now, I'm going to bring an example in. One day we arrived at quarantine a few weeks ago. Actually, I think it was on my last cycle, just before I went on leave, and there was a group of zebra. They saw the cars and they bolted. They ran away. They ran for the hills. They were not interested in us. So straight away to me, that says... So that straight away says to me that it was a different herd of zebra. It wasn't the McCurdy herdy. And this particular group of wildebeest, if I had to get out to the car now, they'd probably run away because I've been in the car the whole time. But if I had to approach them on foot, I think it would be a completely different story. So I think it's the same group that keeps coming back to these plains, two different family groups, and they meet up occasionally. But of course I could be wrong because different herds of females are passing through these areas all the time. It's just their behavior to people on foot is amazing, and I know that I've been working particularly hard with the zebras and the wildebeest for them not to run away from us on foot. But maybe we'll have to test that theory. We're going to have to do a bushwalk soon, and hopefully this herd will be here. But I'm going to send you across now to the Mara with Brent, who's got a variety of general game.
Well, we have a dopey. And you can see actually the mud on his horns that he's buried into the sand to try and make himself look that little more scary to the boys and that little more appealing to the girls. Hey, Topi Top. But topies are not the only animals we've got here in this very spot. We've got a very disgruntled looking gentleman. Here we go, a lovely East African buffalo bull. Now, I really feel sorry for these guys out here, because the amount of flies they have to deal with is insane. It looks like his horns are actually alive, and you can just see those flies moving all over them. And they are just absolutely littered in biting flies. So I think they might be slightly more grumpier than the ones at Djuma. Well, they certainly look at you like they are. And then I'm just going to move the vehicle forward a little bit, and it is, I think, definitely becoming one of my most favorite creatures in the whole world. And they just have such strange looks on their faces, and it is the Thompson's gazelle. Hello, Tom-Toms. And I didn't actually notice it properly till Jamie pointed out to me. She says out of all the antelope she's ever seen, Thompson's gazelles have the most deformed or oddly shaped horns. Then, ooh, that's quite sticky there, I'm not going to go all the way down. Then other antelope. So there they are. Oh, tired Tommy. And she doesn't even have horns, it must have fallen off. So the females normally have horns. So Rupert was saying, do all antelope species have the hump on their back? Well, if you have a look at these Tommies, you see there's very much not a hump. Topi is an oddly shaped species. It's not actually a hump, it's the high shoulder that you're seeing there. But when you see a hump on an antelope, it is normally its shoulder. That's a little boy to the right. You can just see by the thickness of the base of the horns. But if we go across to the ones to the left slightly, Jean-Ray, you can see those funny horn shapes there. Well, she's got one there as well. Those funny horn shapes that the female Tommies have to seem to have. They always skew or squiff or one-horned or something. Well, she's giving herself a good preen. I just love their noses. I don't know why. Their noses are just too funny for me. And you can see she's heavily pregnant at the moment. And I was across the other side of the river day before yesterday, and we did see some baby Tommies. So most of the female Thompsons are pregnant at the moment, and we should be seeing quite a few babies in the next little while. And if we keep going, there's one with very squiff horns a little bit further to the left. A little bit more. There we go. And the one at the back, you can see there's almost well, actually the one in the front as well. Her horns are going in, and the one on the left's horns are going out. Yes, I'm talking about you. Look how funny your horns are. Look how squonk they are. Now, I think it's quite interesting, because we're pretty much looking at evolution in play at the moment. So you'll note, like impala females, for example, don't have horns, and they've evolved that way. And I think Thompson's gazelle females are going the same way. That those horns are actually redundant. They can't use them for defense, and that's why they're so skinny and sort of useless, really. Well, I think they're wonderful because they're always such different and interesting shapes. But I think eventually that female Thompson's gazelles will evolve to not have horns. My goodness, that frog sounded like a wildebeest. One frog went meh, and I was like, oh, the migration here already. That's fast, but no, not quite. Migration is still on the other side of the river. And it's still around the Sand River, and it's not the full migration. It's only probably about 100 to 150,000 animals, mostly zebra, and they have got a sea of grass to go through before they start heading north and west towards the river. But you never know what's going to happen. So they're already a month earlier than they normally are, and we're going to hopefully have them close to camp quite soon. David says they look like little oryx. Well, I never thought of that, but I suppose the colour scheme's a little bit similar. Oh, she's tired. Tired of having horns. Come on, evolution, hurry up. I love the stripes on their face, and that sort of nose, that sort of that little bump on it. And you can see they, like the buffalo, are constantly plagued by the biting flies. And now, if you look carefully, thanks, Chandra, you can actually just see those flies buzzing around. But I love that little bump on the nose. They're just so funny looking. Now, I know a lot of you will have heard me say this before, but I just think it's such an incredible quote. And it is a quote from the man that the Thompson's gazelles are named after, who was an explorer in Africa. And he was most famous for being able to sort of tread lightly and go places where other people couldn't go without having all his porters resign or try and murder him, or the local people he moved past. And he said, those who travel quietly... Wait, let me remember the quote now, sorry. Those who travel quietly travel safely. Those who travel safely travel far. Yes, Mr. Thompson was a wise, wise man before his years. Now we have some impala off to the right that are having a bit of a tussle. Youngish boys. And there we go. Hi, boys. See, now those would be considered massive horns on a South African impala, but they're quite small on the East African scale. Now, the reason the East African impala's horns get so much bigger than the Southern African impala's horns is that they're basically like gym bunnies on steroids. Now, the reason for that is that there's no set mating season, so the rut is continuous throughout the year. So to keep up that level of stamina and competition for the females, they literally have testosterone pouring out of every pore, which causes them to have quite a much bigger body size, and in particular a much bigger horn size, since it's used so often. Now, in this case, this is not a very serious fight. This is just a little bit of light-hearted sparring. Oh, that was a bit more serious. But the reason I say it's not so serious is because there's not a woman in sight. It's all about showing off at the moment and practicing for the big show. So they're all part of a bachelor herd. I can't actually see the herd of females yet, so this is all practice when they got to take on one of those East African beasts who controls the harem of females. Quickly, get him while he's not looking. I saw it coming. I just saw that glint in that impala's eye, trying to take advantage of his competitor not keeping an eye on him. Nico is wondering, are the impala as common here as they are in the Kruger? Not as common, but they are still very common. I'd say they're the second most numerous antelope after Tommies. But they are quite common, but sometimes in the really big seas of grass you don't see them too much. They do like to have a little bit of bush cover around as well. So along the river, very common. Probably actually more common than the Tommies around the rivers. Oh, he's had enough now. Oh, or has he? No, he's coming back. No, oh, what's he up to? Showing how fleet of foot he is. Dance, what's it? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Just to make sure no lion or cheetah is watching you, because otherwise you'll be dinner. Now, predators will often take advantage of male antelopes sparring or fighting, because they're often quite so focused on fighting each other that they don't notice a 400-pound lion sneaking up on them. Speaking of sneaking, I think we're going to sneak further along, see what other wonders the Mara has to offer us, and leave these two boys to sort out their issues. Oh, I think the issues are sorted, or are you going to dance back across? Well, there we go. It's all over. We're going to keep moving, and it sounds like Ali has gone towards one of a lot of your favorite spots on Djuma. Who can guess what? Let's go find out.
Well, one of the favorite spots is the hyena den, but unfortunately we've just arrived and it seems like there's nobody home. Likely it's a lot warmer in there than what it is out here, so I can't see any females or any youngsters around here. We're gonna go around and perhaps there might be one hiding behind the bushes like we were lucky to see the other day. However, I can't really see anything from here. Seems like all of our animals have gone a bit quiet today. But no, there are lots of tracks on the roads coming towards the hyena den, and then a few more going out. So I think maybe everyone, if they have come back, maybe they're just inside, where it's a lot warmer than out here. But oh well, maybe we'll try again in the afternoon, and hopefully we'll have a bit of a better luck than what we have now. We were quite lucky this morning on the pre-show to see one of them moving around, and it was probably going somewhere. Are you all in there? Please come out and say hello this afternoon. We'd love to see you. Okie dokie. Let's go and check Treehouse Dam. Not too far from here, and it seems like a favorite spot for many of the animals. Hopefully we'll be able to pick something there. I've been trying all the areas where some of the leopards were seen yesterday, the roads where they were walking up and down, but it seems like nobody's home. So I think maybe we had an overload of leopards yesterday and everyone's like, oh no, we need a break from you. We'll see you later. I wouldn't be surprised. I think animals are that clever that they play us however they want. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a bit luckier on the way over there. Whoop. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I can finally feel the sun. Well, this is nice. Starting to warm everything up. I think it's been such an odd morning because it wasn't too windy when we first driving around, and there were a few creatures around, hyenas, elephants, different species of antelope, and then it seems like the wind picked up quite a bit and everything went phew, and now we can start feeling the sun, which is quite nice because normally by this time of the day we have decided to take one layer off, but not today. Today's been too cold. And I don't know what I would have done this morning without my very big cup of coffee warming me up at the beginning of the drive. It felt like a little patch of heaven. Nope, not around here. Sorry, Chantal, I believe you were asking something all the way from the FC, but I couldn't hear you because there were a lot of people talking in my ear. So can you repeat that question, please? Okay, it seems like there was a glitch in the system. I apologize. Right, it seems like Taylor's have been a bit luckier finding some of the creatures around, so let's go over to her who's got a warthog.
We've actually got a few different animals here, which is really quite nice. Yes, our luck seems to be changing, not necessarily with the cats, but that's fine. We are finding lots of little smaller creatures. Now, the warthog and the impala are often coexisting together, but what I found particularly interesting is as those impala were moving off, the warthog was sort of following them. Now I don't know where the rest of this warthog's family is. Hopefully it This isn't one of the survivors from the Tungana saga, but I don't think it wants to be alone, and I think I'd do exactly the same as what that warthog is doing, is keeping up with some other animals. We saw it earlier with the wildebeest and how they were sort of on high alert, making sure that any sound that they did hear. I thought I heard southern ground hornbills, but I think it's just another car, sorry. Obviously just making sure that there's nothing trying to sneak up on them in this windy day. Warthog, quickly go! You were following the impala a moment ago, now they're getting away from you. I don't know what it's doing. Has it found something delicious that it's eating? Let's have a look. Now, obviously it's quite difficult from this angle, but it does look like a female. And she doesn't look particularly old either. She's fairly young, maybe just a few years old. Oh, you know what she's doing? That's a small little termite mound. Look how, is it a termite mound? Look how she's biting it. It's something. It's definitely, I don't think it's dung. I think it was soil of some sort. And just with those little holes in it, it looked like maybe it could have been a bit of a termite mound. But she was eating off of it. So she's performing something called geophagy. And it's not uncommon to see it. Actually, you see a lot of white rhino doing it too, where they bite on termite mounds to get certain vitamins that they need, or for certain minerals that are perhaps in that soil. But there she goes. Now she's going back towards the impala. Yes, you're far behind now. They're all gone into the thicket. You better hurry up, because you're on your own. And you're definitely a sitting duck out here. Off she goes. She's beautiful though. Lovely mane. There we go. It's classic tail up in the air. Now, Lulu, you've said that you love warthogs and you're wondering if this warthog makes any noises. It's not making any noises at the moment. It's going to try and be as quiet as it can. But they do. They make sort of grunts and they squeal. I'm not going to try and do anything for any of them for you, because I'm going to look like a silly banana. Off it goes. Just keeping up with the impala that disappeared into the thicket. And it's actually a girl too, Lulu, so it's hard to tell you now, but when that warthog was looking towards us, it only had one pair of warts. So a male warthog has actually got 2 sets of warts on its face, and normally they have much larger tusks too, but of course you get young warthogs and then it is difficult to tell whether they are male or female, so that's just one of the ways. But she is all on her own, so very sad. Maybe she lost all her piglets. They didn't make it this year, which is again not uncommon. Only the strongest and the fittest will survive. But we've got some very fresh giraffe tracks around here. We might bump into a giraffe at some point too, so I'll try and stick onto them. Oh, there's some more warthogs actually. Lulu, we're going to show you some more. They're one of my favorite creatures. They're always quite entertaining. If you look, I set the brakes a bit hard there, sorry Craig. If you look just underneath those guarri trees, I think there's 3 warthogs if I'm not mistaken, just looking at us very, very carefully. Hello. And quite a big sow on the right. And those are obviously her offspring. She's got 2, yes, so there were 3. No, not taking any chances. And that's what they will do today, is instead of maybe waiting around to see if something's going to get them, even if there's nothing there, they're going to take that gamble and just sprint away and hope that if there was something in the grass, it doesn't follow them. We'll try and get another view, but they're very unsettled with us today. Right. Where did they go? Oh, there they are. You can just see one just through the gap over the logs. Ah, and there they go. Just their bottoms disappearing. Okay, well that's fine. Well, we won't bother them too much more. They changed direction again. They obviously have said to us they're not really happy. They're a little bit nervous. So let's carry on. Let's let them settle down so they don't waste unnecessary energy running away from me. Right, we're going to keep moving along. Like I said, there's some fresh giraffe tracks around here, so we might see the tallest creature in the world this morning. Ali is at one of the dams and she's found herself an elephant.
So we managed to find a big grumpy elephant. Beautiful bull, but he is in full musth, so he's not too happy to see pretty much anyone around. But look at him, isn't he stunning? We were so happy to find elephants, and then all of a sudden he was not too happy to see us. Luckily we are on the other side of the water away from him, so we are at a safe distance. although he made it very clear that he did not want anyone in his path. Now, musth is a condition that male elephants go through that lasts maybe a few weeks to a few months at a time, where they have a heightened testosterone content in their system. So they become slightly more aggressive, they're a bit grumpier, and they're just pretty much on a frenzy to find females to mate with. You see, and they walk with this particular swagger, you know, like, out of my way, I'm the boss. And often they rest their trunk on their tusks like that. I think this is probably one of the biggest ones that I've seen in the time that I've been here. He is a very old bull from the looks of it. You see the sides of his head are quite sunken, and he is just very grumpy. I'm sorry. We just wanted to come and have a look. You know, pay our respects and admire you. Yeah, definitely an older bull. Are you gonna come for a drink? Yeah, so you see, when they come into musth, they are often very aggressive and they don't really tolerate much around them. And even if this one that is very big, if it were to come across another bull that's even bigger, just because he's in this heightened state and he's got a bit more of like power pushing through his veins, let's put it that way, he might try to, or he could succeed at getting anyone out of the way for his mating opportunities. I think maybe calming down a little, coming down for a drink. And spraying everything around. I think he was just drinking here just to prove a point to us and be like, well, this is my water. Must be hard being an elephant and just being in this general condition for so long at a time. Some of them are very chilled, some of them are, they don't become all that aggressive, but some of them, like this one, are a bit tough. Alright, let's see if maybe we can catch a bit of a look somewhere on the other side. A bit of a tree there. Well, you're wondering what the elephant eyesight is like. Well, it's pretty good. However, they rely more on their sense of smell and on their hearing for everything that's around them. Their eyesight is good compared to some of the other creatures, but they are probably a bit better than us. But like I say, if we had to point out a remarkable sense for the elephants, it's probably the sense of hearing and their smelling. They can pick up vibrations even traveling through the ground with their big ears, and a lot of the times if the wind is favorable to them, they're able to pick sense from a very far distance. I think he is being a bit shy, and he's gone off behind some bushes, so I'm not going to follow him around. I want to see if we go maybe around the dam wall, if we are able to have another look at this guy, because he is quite something. And I think, it was funny enough, I was talking to Tristan about it yesterday. It's always humbling to come into the presence of such a big animal, such an older bull, and you just wonder about everything that they've done in their lifetime, where they've been, where they've gone. And it's almost like, you know, it's an elder, and you're happy to see them around, see that they're still here, even if they're not happy at all to see us. But that's fine. We shall keep our distance and make sure that he feels comfortable with us. I think there's another bull not too far away, so I'm sure he's been enjoying the company of some others. There we go. It's just busy feeding now. And we keep seeing lots of branches being turned down and left in the middle of the road, so I wonder if these bulls are actually the ones to blame. Brandon, you're wondering what a snake bite would do to an elephant. Well, I reckon not too much. Elephants have very thick skin, and normally the venom needs to get into your bloodstream or underneath your skin to then cause some real harm. So their skin can be up to 3 centimeters thick in certain areas of their body, and it's very rough, so I don't think a snake would be able to actually get its fangs all the way inside to cause any damage. Perhaps with a younger elephant they might be able to affect them somehow, but I don't think it's one of the things that they'll particularly worry about. There's the second bull that's been feeding graciously down there. Hasn't been as unfriendly as the previous one. So males will sometimes associate, they'll have loose associations, they'll spend some time together with one another, and the females, those are the ones that we always see in a herd. Now I can sometimes see his trunk going up, so I'm gonna try going forward, see if perhaps we get one last look at him. He's been quite nice overall, and I don't want to push him too much. Oh, well, there's the other one feeding away. I think this one might even come into the open. Well, yeah, I think he's slowly gonna make his way through the open area there, because I just see the trunk going and going and going. So let's just maybe sit here and be patient for a little while. Maybe he'll come out and we'll be able to have one last look at him. I'm sure he will, because the other ones are slowly moving in that general direction. But amazing how such a big bull is able to hide behind just a tiny few trees. Lulu, you're wondering what is the one animal that an elephant would fear? Well, they don't like lions all too much. So whenever they see lions, they tend to chase them away. So lions definitely, especially if they've got younger ones around. But I think the animal that the elephants need to fear the most is actually humans, or it's our humans. We are their biggest predator at the moment, and all for those beautiful tusks that he's got. Now he's come out into the open, and he's done it very quickly, very sneakily. So you see, all for those teeth, pretty much, because that's what they are. Humans, we go crazy, or we seem to have gone crazy, especially during the 80s for the ivory, which the elephants wear proudly on their faces. But in terms of lions, there are a few prides in certain areas of Botswana that have been documented and have become highly specialized in hunting younger solitary bulls. I think a bull this big, they would definitely not be able to take down. I mean, can you imagine? I don't think they would be dumb enough to try their luck with something this big, especially not when it's this grumpy. Well, I say grumpy, but I think you are being pretty friendly right now. I apologize. Sometimes they've also got to let us know who's the man, pretty much. And once we got out of his way, then he was okay. Beautiful boy. Hiding all the way. You see, now because it's becoming so dry and windy and dusty, lots of the grass or lots of dust will gonna come and just lay on top of the grass. So when they try to get it out, then this is why they start shaking it. And we see them shaking it a lot more during the winter months than actually during the summer. And it's because they don't want to grind their teeth on too much dust. It also wears their teeth down, and imagine eating a lot of sand. That's also not nice for us. So I'm sure for them it's pretty much the same thing. They don't like it, so they shake it and then they put it in their mouth. Pretty. Well, thank you for being around here. We appreciate it. I think there's so that is a younger one. So I think what's been happening actually, now that we're able to see a bit more into the open, or some of the elephants have been moving around, I think he's actually trailing a herd. So that one over there I think it's a female. I haven't been able to get really a glimpse of her just to be able to determine, but not too far from her there's another one, another elephant that looks to be a lot younger. Seems like too young to be. Yes, there we go, there's a young baby down there. So I think maybe now that we have managed to put together all the pieces of the puzzle, he's trailing this herd, I'm sure, because he can smell, or he's been able to pick up on the fact that maybe one of them is actually receptive or starting to go into mating. I don't think necessarily this one. I think the baby, or let's have a closer look, trying to use the binoculars. Now I've lost them. Could be that this particular female, if the young stray is maybe, let's say, around about 2 years old, that she is starting to come back into heat. So when the bulls are in musth, they're constantly looking for females to mate with. And it could be when we arrived, we couldn't figure out why he was being so grumpy. But I have a strong feeling that if that female is there, perhaps there are more females somewhere around, and he's actually trailing them, looking for the one that's ready or that's coming into estrus that he can mate with. As their cycle will last a few days, often to attract different males and have a selection of the best genes around. So I'm sure this is what's happening. Because now I can see another elephant. Yeah. So you are just actually making sure that we didn't want to get in the way of your females, boy. So interesting. Now we've managed to see the little ones. When we first arrived, I just assumed that there was another male because I could only see one more elephant because it's a bit too thick in the direction where the rest of them are. But now that we've seen the little one, mystery solved. We know what this boy is up to. He's looking for some love. Right, well, we're not gonna follow them around because, like we said, he's a bit protective and possessive of all of them. But let's go to Taylor, who's at another dam, and she's got a terrapin.
We have got some terrapins. We've got terrapins of various sizes here, as well as a little 3-banded plover. We've got a rather large terrapin basking in the sun, and then of course the 2 small ones. But how cool is that? You're looking very brown, looking very tan, terrapin. But you're not quite as impressive as that 5-meter crocodile that Brent had in the Mara. And then his 2 little friends. Look how small they are. They're almost the same size as the little 3-banded plover. Now that 3-banded plover is not particularly big. We should actually be able to gauge the size of those terrapins. I don't know. So they say that a 3-banded plover is not more than about 20 centimeters in height. I reckon maybe even a little smaller than that. So 2/3 of your ruler's length. So not big at all. They look quite tiny when they're on the floor. So I think that the terrapin that's probably around the same length is probably the smallest one. I think with its head stretched out like that, they would be a similar size. They're so funny. They are strange looking creatures. They look like they've got quite a bit of mud covered on their backs too. But nice, what a lovely smile that we've got. But we've got lots of birds here actually. Look at that, we haven't just got our terrapins and then the little 3-banded plover. Craig, if you come up here to this little tree right in front of us, there's a starling. It looks like a Birchall starling. That's also the dam cam light that you can see at the back there. And you just singing your favourite song, are we, first thing in the morning? Very happy, very chirpy, and looking beautiful and gorgeous in that lovely light. Where is the other one? There was a hornbill that was sitting around here too, but it has now flown off. I thought that we would do a couple of birds. Let me go underneath this jackalberry. Let's see if we can see anybody hiding in here. There might be a couple of little songbirds, maybe even a woodpecker. Let's examine. Now we've got to look up into the branches. I can still just hear that Birchall starling that's chirping away. You can hear some waxbills, but I can't see them. The waxbills seem to be hiding from us. Oh, they're bobbing right at the top, but they're too small to see. Just every now and then I see the odd little thing flying across the tops of the trees, and then that's really it. So no birds perched in a tree today. Maybe they're also just trying to keep out of the wind. Okay, let's continue. And our friend the giraffe, I don't know where he's gone, the one that had one eye. He was around here yesterday, but he doesn't seem to be around here now this morning. He's moved off. Maybe we need to check around Wahlberg's road because he was going in that direction. I don't think he would have gone too far. Let's go slowly through these bumps. And no lions calling last night, which was unusual. Normally we hear lions every single day, or every single evening at least, so I don't know where the lioness is, where Amber Eyes is gone. But let's quickly just check a small section of Twin Dams. Sort of, maybe we'll drive the Jigga Jigga Road. Let's drive Ingwe Alley and have a look. It's nice and sheltered in there too. It's quite thick on either side, but has got little open patches. Let's check up here. Maybe we see a chugra as well. So I'm looking looking out for either a white-browed scrub robin or perhaps one of the chugras. And I don't know if we will see many birds in this wind. I can't even hear the sound of my voice when I talk now. It's so windy. But this is of course just the end of that storm, of that front that hit Cape Town on the whole of the west coast of South Africa. We're getting just the tail end of it now. It won't rain or anything, it's just bringing about a nippiness to the air. It feels like there's snow on the mountains somewhere. Okay, here's Wahlberg's. Haven't got any more, or haven't got any lion tracks around here. We must keep checking these areas as well, because this is the last spot that, of course, that lioness was seen. We'll keep bumbling along. Hopefully we'll get to Ingwe Alley and find some animals. Brent is still driving around the Masai Mara, well, in the Mara Triangle to be more specific. Let's see what other wonderful creatures he's got for you.
And we've had such a fantastic morning today showing you the wonders of the Mara, and I've actually got one more wonder for you before the end of drive. It's a bit far now, but there is a new bird species circling over the grass, and it is a bird that particularly likes grasses, and it is, oh no, it's not what I thought it was. And it looks like to be, yes it is. It's a black-breasted snake eagle, and of course this long grass is full of reptiles, and that is their favorite food. Now, earlier, as I stopped, there was actually also a Montagu's harrier around, but I can't see where it's gone. But isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Riding the cool Mara winds in search of snooks, or snakes. But it has been absolutely fabulous, and I just want to reiterate before we say goodbye today how absolutely incredible it was to be able to share our first black rhino sighting with you, and I'm still on an absolute high from that, and of course it can only get better, and we're going to have better and longer sightings of those absolutely incredible creatures. Now, I've got a challenge for Ali and Taylor before the end of show, because I know they've both seen black rhinos, and probably I've been chased up a tree by quite a few black rhinos in my life, so I want Ali and Taylor to give us their best black rhino before it charges mimic, and I'm going to do mine now. So basically you want to get on your angry legs like a little like a black rhino, and you go. Now I can't wait to see Ali and Taylor do that, so let's go back to Djuma.
All the way across from the and you still want to do these things. Alright, fine, I'll do my black rhino impression before it charges, but I need to be able to get to some ground, because obviously I'm going to jump out of the vehicle and do it properly. So, here it is, my best attempt at a black rhino. Friends, I will get you back, don't you worry. Figure out what, maybe I'll make you be a tiny baby giraffe one day. Although I don't think you can be tiny. Right, so a black rhino charging. I'll also make the noise for you, Brent. I think this is probably a safe distance for me to start charging you from. Right, are you ready, Seb?
Yep.
Because I'm gonna come really quickly.
Okay.
black rhino charges. Coming from the bushes and all the way. What do you think, Sam?
That was great.
Was it great?
Really
Good.
great.
Now, Taylor, you've got to live up to the challenge. Let's see how it all goes. My goodness. But yeah, it happens very quickly. You almost don't see them doing it. Right, Taylor, here we go. We're going all the way to you. Let's see how a black rhino charges according to you.
Oh, Ali, you know, I'm always up for a good challenge, and everybody that's watching knows it, that I don't mind embarrassing myself. However, I physically cannot do a black rhino impersonation at the moment because, as you can see, I'm surrounded by impala, and I really don't want to get out of the car and frighten them to death because, like we've been saying the whole morning, it's very windy and they're probably on edge as it is now. Imagine if they had to see a wild McCurdy get out the car and start kicking up dust and making all sorts of strange noises. As entertaining as what that would be, Ali, I think that you probably did a very good job, and you probably outdid me with the black rhino charge. So maybe we will try on the sunset safari then, but right now we better be courteous towards these animals and not get out the car and frighten them to death. But there's an impala ram herding his girls along. He doesn't seem to be too bossy anymore, which is quite nice, and I'm sure all the ladies are feeling quite thankful for that. Craig, you know what's so funny is this impala, she's just come out of the bushes. Look at this. She's gone, whew. Do you think I've made it out? Do you think I've escaped? Can I leave the herd? She's all on her own. She's just popped out of the bushes. Did you maybe get a bit lost? You don't seem to much. This is the closest I've ever had an impala walk past my car. Look at that. What? That's unbelievable. Lovely lady, you are a very relaxed female. That's unusual. Normally the impala run away. They don't often come right up to the car like that, so that was quite nice. In fact, she's a Kruger impala. Are you a Kruger impala? Are you? No, she just shook her leg and then carried on off to where the rest of the impala all are standing. Now we're on Ingwe Alley. It's lovely and sheltered here. It's the perfect spot. There's enough grazing, but it's also open enough that they can of course see what's going on around them, and there's a couple of bits of water that are still down in the drainage line, so a good spot. And we have seen large groups of impala actually around here on a number of different occasions now, so it's a nice spot. So when we want to see big herds of impala, now we know where to come. Just jump onto Ingwe Alley and it's the perfect place to of course go. But what an exciting adventure we've all had this morning. I think it was very nice that we got to spend so much time with Ent in the Mara, and you got to see a rhino. How cool was that? So I'm sure that you're all smiling from ear to ear. Maybe we'll get some cats this afternoon on the sunset safari. Who knows? Then we'll just have to wait and see. Again, that's my favorite line. We'll just have to wait and see, because that's what nature does. But a big thank you to everybody in Final Control, and of course to all of you viewers. We hope to see you this afternoon, and hopefully it won't be too chilly.